Hello everyone, welcome back. And today we're doing another educational video. This time it's going to be on a little parasite that I'm sure most people have seen or have stuck on them, and it's the ticks. So, ticks. First off, we have the scientific classification here. We won't go over all this, but I'll go over some of the smaller things. So, domain Eukaryota, kingdom Animalia, phylum Arthropoda, class Arachnidae, and then they have the order Ixida, and then we have these families here, which I'm probably going to butcher the names, but I tried my best to learn what they are. But they're the hard ticks, soft ticks, and then there's a monotypic one here that I think it only has one species left. I think that's what I saw. But it's Ixodidae, Argicidae, and Nuttallilidae. I think Nuttallilidae, I think I said that somewhat correct, but it's hard to say. And then I have some pictures here of, like, I have a Lone Star tick. I have some tick that is fully fed here right behind me. And yeah. So ticks are very diverse. They have 18 genera, about 900 species, and ticks belong to two major families, the Ixodidae, or hard ticks, and then the Argicidae, which are soft ticks. And then Nuttallilidae is a genus from South Africa and is the only member of the family Nuttallilidae. And it represents the most primitive living lineage of ticks. So I do have a picture here of the anatomy of a tick. We'll kind of go over some of the different parts of it above me here. But they have the nasoma, the head, and contains neither the brain nor the eyes of the tick. Because the eyes, if you look at the very center of the tick, along where the scutum is, or whatever, you can see the eyes on the very side of it. It has two eyes on the side. And I think its brain is somewhere along the center too. They have two palps, where secondary, primary, or forward appendages, which they are right near the mouth part on either side. You can kind of think of them like pinchers kind of thing. They have two chelicerae with their mouth parts or jaws used for cutting and piercing into the host skin. They are right next to the hopstome. And the hopstome is the barbed attachment structure that helps to anchor the tick's mouth parts to the host. So whenever a tick bites and attaches to you, it is the hypostome that is attaching to you and is stuck inside you. And it's barbed, that's the reason why it's so hard to get out of your body. So most ticks appear to be brown or reddish in color, like the picture there. And larval ticks hatch with 6 legs instead of 8 legs like this adult form here. And they acquire their other 2 after their first blood meal, and they molt into the nymph stage. And each leg is tipped with a pair of claws, as you can see on the picture there, that also help them grab onto their host. And then we have the hauler organ, which you can see is right near the very front pair of legs. It's right there next to the claws there. Now, the hauler organ is one of the most interesting things I think about ticks, because it can be used to detect odors, chemicals emitting from a host, so they can find their host to feed on. Then something else that's interesting is the festoons, which if you look on the picture at the very top, along the very back end of the tick, you can see the festoons. And they are small areas separated by short grooves, and they are located on the back margin of a tick. And their function is not known, but help distinguish tick types. And then I have this a little bit bigger if you want to look at the tick more or whatnot. But we're going to move on. So I mentioned the hauler organ. So the hauler organ is a complex sensory organ possessed by hard and soft ticks. And I have a picture of it way above me there. It's very, very, very small. But you can... That's what it looks like. And it's a group of chemosensitive cells concentrated on the tarsus of the foreleg. And it's critical in finding both hosts and also seeking mates. and detecting them via... Okay, so they look for hosts and mates via olfactory or smell, humidity, temperature, which they're able to detect humans, or a source of 37 degrees Celsius heat up to 4 meters away, which is pretty far away. Then also carbon dioxide. A source of 3 to 5% CO2 at up to 80 centimeters distance was found to strongly attack individual ticks. And then also pheromones. So these ticks not only use smell, temperature, they also use humidity and carbon dioxide and pheromones to find us. So no wonder they can find you wherever you go when you walk through grass or whatnot. It's very interesting. And then feeding. So I have a picture of the mouth parts right above me here. So if you look at there, you can see the hyposome, and then you see the palps on each side, and yeah. Ticks are obligate parasites and must find a host in order to survive, so blood meals are necessary for completion of their life cycle, including reproduction and development. Preparing to feed can take from 10 minutes to 2 hours. And tick grasps the host skin and cuts into the surface. It inserts its hypostome and prevents the blood from clotting by excreting an anticoagulant or platelet aggregation inhibitor. So what that means is it cuts into the surface, sticks in its mouth part, and then there is some sort of anticoagulant, something that makes it so your blood does not clot into your body so that it can continue to drink blood without your body clotting and closing the cut. And then both groups of soft ticks feed rapidly and typically biting painful and drinking their fill within minutes. So soft ticks are very, very fast at what they do, but also you can feel when they bite. So, yeah. And now, resilience, okay? Ticks are very resilient. They can survive in a near vacuum for as long as half an hour. And then also, they have slow metabolism, and during their dormant periods, enable them to go prolonged durations between meals. They can endure repeated 2-day bouts of dehydration, followed by rehydration. The survivability against dehydration drops rapidly after 36 weeks of starvation. So, they haven't had a blood meal in 36 weeks or whatever, their survivability goes down, even if they do not have, like, water, I guess. To keep from dehydrating, ticks hide in humid spots on the forest floor. That would be, like, leaf litter or something like that, or, like, a moist hole, I guess, I don't know. And they can withstand temperatures just above negative 18 degrees Celsius or 0 degrees Fahrenheit. And for more than 2 hours can survive temperatures between 7 degrees Celsius and negative 2 degrees Celsius for at least 2 weeks. And they have been found in Antarctica where they feed on penguins, which is kind of insane to me that, like, they are, like, there's a lot of things that aren't found in Antarctica, but ticks are because of the penguins, I guess. Okay, so we have hard ticks here. So hard ticks, the eyes are close to the sides of the scrotum. They have large spiracles, which are located just behind the coccyx. I hope I'm saying that right. Of the fourth pair of legs. And the hard protective scutellum covers nearly the whole back surface in males, but is restricted to a small shield-like structure behind the capitulum and females of nymphs. When the hard tick attaches to a host, the bite is typically painless and generally goes unnoticed. That's why I said soft ticks, where it's more painful, but they drink really fast. Hard ticks, you can barely notice them, but they eat a little bit slower. They remain in place until they engorge and are ready to molt, which may take days or weeks. Weight may increase by 200 to 600 times compared to their pre-feeding weight. And some species drop off the host to molt in a safe place, whereas others remain on the same host, only drop off once they're ready to lay their eggs. So, some species of these hard ticks will like eat as much as they can, drop off the host, molt, and then find another host to get back onto, or possibly the same host. And then other ones will still stay like on the host, molt, and then get back to drinking. So hard tick's life cycle, there is 1 host, 2 host, and 3 host ticks. The 1 host tick remains on the host through the larval, nymph, and adult stage and only leaves the host to lay eggs. So that's the one that I say would molt and stay on the creature, I guess, they're eating on. There's 2 host ticks, which span 2 years often. The larval hatch and attach to the first host, stay on till they engorge, drop off and molt, and then they attach to another host where they feed and mate. Then we have the 3 host ticks. So the 3 host ticks, the life cycle typically stands 3 years. And they hatch, attach to a host, which is usually a small mammal or bird, where they'll eat their fill, fall off and molt to nymphs. Nymphs will then get on another animal or the same one, where they will then eat and fall off and molt into adults. Then adults will find a large host and feed and mate on it. Then we have the soft ticks. So they are usually pear-shaped or oval with a rounded anterior portion, so their back end is usually rounded. The mouth parts cannot be seen from above as they are on the underside of the tick. The eyes are on the side of the body and the spiracles between the legs 3 and 4. Males and females only differ in the structure of their genital pore. And they possess a leathery cuticle skin. And then, when feeding, the cuticle stretches to accommodate the fluid ingested, but does not grow new cells. So their cuticle can stretch quite a bit. That's the reason why whenever you see a tick, they look like gray whenever they're filled up with blood and whatnot. They're just very, very stretched. And then the weight of the tick increases 5 to 10-fold over the unfed state. Then it drops off the host and remains in the nest or burrow until the host returns to provide its next meal. So these ones are just like a sit and wait tick, because they'll eat their fill, drop off, and then I guess if the host is still on the thing, they'll attach back, or they'll wait for the host to come back to the nest where they'll reattach and eat another meal. So the soft tick's life cycle. They may go through up to 7 nymphal stages, or instars, and require a meal of blood each time. The larvae feed on a nearby host for anywhere from a few hours to several days, and the larvae drop and molt into their first nymphal instars. Then the nymph seeks out and feeds on a second host. The process occurs repeatedly until the last nymphal instar occurs. Adult females may lay eggs after each feeding, and can lay a few hundred to thousands of eggs over the course of her lifetime. The life cycle ranges from months to years. So, as I said, these have 7 nymphal stages. Each one of them requires a blood meal to go to the next instar or next stage. And so yeah, they'll just keep going on a host, dropping off, molting, get on another host, eat, drop off and molt, and they'll do that up to their 7th instar. And it's insane for me to think that they can lay a few hundred eggs or over 1,000 eggs over the course of their lifetime. But I guess since they can lay eggs after every blood meal, I guess they could do quite a few. Then we have the Nuttallilidae. These things can be distinguished from both the hard and soft ticks by a combination of their mouth parts and then their soft leathery skin. Other distinguishing characteristics include stigmata is in a different position. They have corrugated integuments. Then they have fenestrated plates. And then lacacetae. So, yeah. I don't know what most of those are, but those are distinguishing characteristics. The most part is the projecting mouth part and the soft leathery skin, like I said. So questing, okay? This is one that, I love the name for it, okay? Questing. So, I have a picture of a tick up there that is questing. So, ticks are incapable of jumping, okay? They cling to leaves or grass by their third and fourth pair of legs, and then they hold their first pair of legs outstretched, kind of like the picture up to the top. So they will sit there waiting to grasp and climb onto any passing host. And then questing height depends on the size of the desired host. So if you want something small, they'd be lower in the grass, whereas if they want something big, they might go up higher. So nymphs and small species will quest lower to the ground, like I said, for small mammals and bird hosts, where adults will climb to higher vegetation to look for larger hosts. And then the soft ticks will find hosts in their nests and burrows or caves, like we said before. I think questing is looks so cute from a distance where they can't get to me, but it's one of the things that it's cool. It's very cool. So habitat. So habitat kind of changes between what tick species or types or whatever. So they flourish in warm, humid climates because they require a certain amount of moisture in the air to undergo metamorphosis or molt. Low temperature inhibits their development of eggs to larvae. So they want hot and humid. That's what ticks want. So the soft ticks live in sand and crevices near animal dens or nests or in human dwellings. And then they come out at night to attack roosting birds or emerge from when they detect carbon dioxide in the breath of their hosts. Whereas hard ticks have no fixed dwelling place except on the host. So, some interesting tick facts we have here. So, tick saliva contains about 1,500 to 3,000 proteins depending on the tick species. Some of these being the anti-inflammatory properties which allow a tick to feed for 8 to 10 days without being perceived by the host animal. Ticks also do not use any other food source than vertebrate blood. They themselves cannot synthesize the essential vitamins that are lacked in blood meals. Eggs can become infected with pathogens inside the female tick's ovaries, which is called transovarial transmission. So even whenever the eggs become infected, not after they hatch or anything like that, they can become infected while they are still inside the female ticks, which is kind of scary to think about and kind of insane, but it happens. Tick bites often do not lead to infection, especially if the tick is removed within 36 hours. So we'll look at some other infections or diseases that you can get from tick bites. But as long as you remove a tick quick, there is a very low probability that you'll actually get whatever infection or disease or whatnot. So, ticks, like we said, cannot get everything they need from their blood meals. So they have nutritional endosymbionts, okay? So these are organisms like bacteria that live inside them that help them produce different stuff. So the most common of these is in ticks belongs to the Coaxiella and the Francisella bacterial genera. I hope I said those somewhat similar. They consistently produce 3 vitamin B types: biotin, which is vitamin B7, riboflavin, which is B2, and folate, which is B9. So these bacteria will produce all these B vitamins for the tick since they can't get it from the blood meals. So these bacteria are transferred to offspring through transovarial transmission, kind of like we talked about before. And then the offspring have the bacteria since they were an egg because of that. Their experimental elimination typically results in a decreased tick survival. So if you get rid of the bacteria, the ticks will die more often. They also, through molting or egg viability or whatnot. And also physical abnormalities, which all are fully restored if the supplemented B vitamins are given. So basically, they took some ticks, they got rid of the bacteria in them to see how they live, and they did not live very long. But if they were to give these ticks back some B vitamins, then they were fully restored. So that's actually pretty cool. So now we have tick parasitism, which I think most everyone knows about. If you have animals, or I mean, if you walk around in long, like tall grass, then you probably have seen ticks on you, or on an animal you have, or on some wild animal. So the hosts for these can include marsupials and placental mammals, and then also birds, reptiles, and amphibians, and then migrating birds can also carry with them through their migrations. And I have some pictures here. So on the very far side, I have a deer, which has some ticks on its ears. I have a picture of a bird, which has some ticks on it. And then I have a picture of a frog right behind me that has a tick on it. And the tick is about the size of, well, actually, it's not the size of a bottle cap, but it's getting closer. Now, something I did not know, like I know like dogs, cats, like birds, deer, stuff like that. I did not know that amphibians would get ticks. I mean, I guess I never really thought about it, but it was interesting to see one on like a toad here or a frog. So yeah. So we have some tick-borne diseases here, and we're going to go over some of these diseases. But we have Lyme disease, Rocky Mountain spotted fever, alpha-gal syndrome, and then anaplasmosis. Yes. And they are transmitted by different types of ticks. So we have the hard and soft ticks there. We have some other ones. We have the American dog tick, which is also known as the wood tick, the black-legged tick or deer tick, the Lone Star tick or turkey tick, the brown dog tick, which is also called the kennel tick, and yeah, and then it has what types of diseases they have and whatnot. But we're going to go over some of these. So, Lyme disease. It is a bacterial infection spread to people through the bite of black-legged ticks. It's caused by the bacterium that I have it there. Symptoms include fever, headache, fatigue, and skin rash. And they are most common in the northeast, mid-Atlantic, and then upper Midwest regions of the United States. Then we have the anaplasmosis. It is spread through black-legged ticks, and also the western black-legged tick. It's caused by the bacterium Anaplasma phagocytophilum. I think that was actually kind of close. Signs and symptoms typically begin between 1 to 2 weeks after the bite. You will have fevers, chills, severe headaches, muscle aches, nausea, vomiting, diarrhea, loss of appetite. That's a mouthful. And then late stages could lead to respiratory failure, bleeding problems, organ failure, and death. So, yeah. Then, since we are doing that, I have a little page on black-legged ticks here, because those are the ones that transfer over the anaplasmosis. So, they're commonly known as the deer tick or bear tick, which I know them as deer tick. They are a hard-bodied tick found in the eastern to northern Midwestern of the United States, as well as southeastern Canada. And I have a range map there on the bottom. And the red area is where they have been, like, found. It's known as a deer tick because its habit to parasitize white-tailed deer. It's also known to parasitize mice, lizards, and migratory birds. It can be active after a hard frost, as daytime temperatures can warm it enough to keep it actively searching for hosts. So these things, even after a hard frost, they can still go around and you can still get them on you, which I don't like. I don't like whenever things can get out in that, like, very, very low temperatures, especially ticks. And then I have a picture of one here to my side. So we have the range map there, like I said, the southern Canada, as well as, like, southern United States and stuff like that. Then we have Stari, okay, or S-T-A-R-I. It's characterized by a red expanding lesion that develops around the site of a Lone Star tick bite, and the rash is very similar to the Lyme disease rash. It may also experience fatigue, headache, fever, and muscle pains. The cause of STARI or Stari is unknown. Then we have Rocky Mountain spotted fever or RMSF. It's spread through the American dog tick or brown dog tick and Rocky Mountain wood tick. So there's 3 different kind of types that can get it. Caused by the bacterium Rickettsia rickettsii. I think that's right. That's actually fun to say. Signs and symptoms can include fever, headache, rash, nausea, vomiting, stomach pain, muscle pain, and lack of appetite. I need to be in one of those like medicine commercials where you could say all the different symptoms and stuff. But yeah. Then we have the American dog tick here, since it is one that can transfer over both the Rocky Mountain spotted fever and also I think it can star eye. I think that's a reason. Never mind, that's Lone Star tick. Never mind. So American dog tick. It's one of the best known hard ticks. It's a 3-host tick, like we said, so it has to get on a host, feed, get off, get back on a host, feed again, and whatnot. Like I said, it's known to carry the bacterium responsible for several diseases in humans, including the Rocky Mountain spotted fever. So I have a picture here of the American dog tick. Then I have a life cycle kind of thing here for it, where it goes from, like we said, eggs to 6-legged larval on a squirrel, goes off, molts, goes on as a 8-legged nymph, feeds on a small mammal. Then it gets onto, let's say, a dog or whatnot, and then it lays its eggs, and it's all good. Then we have right over here the range map for it. So the range map, it can be seen like the blue area there, I guess, a little bit near California, and then it is basically over half the United States. So it's not really in like the very far west area, other than like on the edge of California and whatnot. But yeah, mostly in the like eastern United States to Midwest. Oh, the alpha-gal syndrome. Okay, this is one that does worry me, okay? Like, all the other, like, Lyme disease, stuff like that, who cares about, okay? But alpha-gal syndrome is one that I do worry about. It's a condition usually begins with the Lone Star tick bite, and it's a type of food allergy that makes people allergic to red meat and other products made from animals. So if you are like a person like me that likes burgers or whatnot, or steaks, or like other like animal products, I guess, this is like one of your worst nightmares. The bite transfers a sugar molecule called alpha-gal into the body, which triggers our immune system to react to red meats. So just because that tick bites you, and you get a sugar molecule from it, okay? You will react to red meats, and you cannot eat red meats without getting sick. There is no treatment other than avoiding red meats or other products made from the mammals. So, if you get that, you just have to avoid red meats, man. I don't know what to tell you. Symptoms include hives, itching or itchy, scaly skin, swelling of lips, face, tongue, and throat and other body parts, wheezing and shortness of breath, stomach pain, diarrhea, upset stomach, and vomiting. Terrible. Out of all of these, this is the one I'm most worried about, okay? So I just need to stay away from Lone Star ticks. So let's move on to the next one. Oh, okay, so we're looking at the Lone Star tick now. So, it's also known as the northeastern water tick, or the turkey tick, also known as the 3-host tick, because 3 hosts. It's indigenous to much of the eastern United States and Mexico. The larval Lone Star tick have been found to attach to birds and small mammals, and then adult Lone Star ticks usually feed on medium and large mammals, and are very frequently found on white-tailed deer. They also feed on humans at any stage of development. So you can get any of these different size of nymphs on you, or instars, or whatever. And then I have pictures here of a Lone Star tick. So Lone Star tick has a little dot in the center of its body. That's the best way you can like recognize them. But yeah. So there are some tick control measures that are being used. So there's bifenthrin, okay, and permethrin, which are sometimes used as tick control measures, but they are carcinogenic and are able to attack the nervous system of other species besides ticks, so it's not really used very much. There is also a parasitoid encritid wasp, which has been investigated for its potential control in tick populations because it lays its eggs inside a tick, so it kills ticks. There's also a guinea fowl, the helmeted guinea fowl, which is a bird species that consumes mass quantities of ticks. Opossums. Oh, okay, possums. These groom themselves and also eat the ticks, and they kill around 90% of ticks that attempt to feed on them. So these things are basically tick magnets, and they also clean the ticks off themselves. So, possums are just wonderful, okay? They might, like, especially, if you look over in, like, here in the United States, our possums look very not so friendly, okay? They don't look as good, but they are wonderful tick eaters. Wonderful tick eaters. They are good animals. So, some things you can do for yourself to protect you from ticks is you can wear long pants, and then you can tuck these pants into either your shoes or boots so they cannot get on your legs. And then you can wear smooth rubber boots that ticks cannot climb on. So if you wear long pants and then you tuck your pants into a smooth rubber boot, that can protect you from ticks a lot. I've also seen people that have took double-sided tape and put it on the bottom cuff of their pants to catch ticks whenever they grab on, which seems to work fairly good. So that's another option. So here we have that tick wasp that I was talking about here that can kill ticks. So it is a wasp which lays its eggs inside ticks. But even though the wasp can lay an egg inside the tick's immune system can encapsulate the egg, or like cover it or whatever, and then kill the egg. The use of symbiotic bacteria is used to weaken the tick's immune system. So there is a bacteria which is called Bacteria pipientis, which is used to weaken a tick's immune system so that it cannot encapsulate the egg and kill the egg, which is kind of pretty cool. The egg will remain inside the tick in diapause, in like a paused state. It won't like do anything until the nymph will eat on vertebrate blood, at which point the egg becomes active and ends up growing and killing the tick. They live everywhere except for Antarctica. So I guess poor penguins, because the ticks that are on the penguins cannot be killed by this. And then it's a little thing. Look at this thing. It's kind of cute, okay? It doesn't even look like a wasp to me. It looks like a fly. And it is about 1 millimeter. Yeah, it's very small. So I would be fine with having a ton of those wasps around to kill all the ticks that are around. I'd be fine with that. And that looks like to be all the stuff I have for ticks there. That was a lot more, and it was actually a fairly long video. I'm alright with that. But, yeah. If you guys enjoyed that, yeah, thanks for watching, I guess. If you enjoyed, leave a like, comment, subscribe, whatever. Like I said, I do one of these every month. If you've seen any of my other ones. I try to find something that's somewhat interesting to me, or, well, that's interesting to me, that's somewhat interesting to other people. And then also sometimes might have something happening at this time in the world. Like, right now ticks are fairly, like, abundant, okay? So I feel like doing one on ticks this would be, like, a good time of year to do it. Yeah, I learned quite a bit from this. I did think it was interesting learning more about the anticoagulant that the ticks have when they bite you. Also, figuring out how big the ticks, like some get like 200 like times bigger or something like that from their blood meals. I think that was the soft ticks do. 200 to 500 or tenfold or something like that. That's pretty cool. I did like learning more about the tick wasp here. I did know about wasps that, like, I know wasps do stuff like that, but I didn't know there's a tick wasp. I know there's this cicada wasp, which we learned about a few months ago. Yeah, what else did we learn today? The tick control measures and the diseases. Just check yourself for ticks when you go outside, especially if you go in tall grass, and you won't have to worry as much. and just wear long pants and stuff like that. I mean, and care about your local opossums or possums. Alpha gal syndrome. Okay, I had heard about this, and I'm more scared now after learning about it. Because I do like red meats. Yeah, the interesting tick facts here. I thought the trans-ovarial transmission was insane to think that they could be infected from inside the female before they're even, like, made. That's something that's very interesting to me, and then also that as long as you get a tick off within 36 hours, it does not usually lead to infection. That's something nice because I guess even if you went to sleep with the tick on you and you found it the next morning, you'd probably still be fine. Yeah, then the 1,500 to 3,000 proteins. That's pretty insane for tick saliva. Questing is so cute, okay? For something, a parasite like this, okay, a tick. I don't like ticks. The questing looks so cute. Look at those things, like just holding out their two front appendages, just looking for a meal, a host. I hate having to say all these scientific names, but it's something I have to deal with. I have to get used to saying all these. Resilience. Ticks are super, super resilient. The near vacuum for as long as half an hour, and then bouts of dehydration, dormant periods, whatnot. These things are insane. They're so hard to kill. And then also they're found in Antarctica with those low temperatures. Oh my gosh, poor penguins. The hauler organ, okay? That is one of the most interesting things about this to me, is that ticks have these things that they can they can sense the carbon dioxide in the air to find someone, or the humidity, or smell, or temperature, or something like that. They are walking magnets for, like, trying to find us. Yeah. So that looks to be all. There's another picture of an engorged tick right behind me there if you want to see that. But yeah, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. There'll be another educational video next month, like I said. I don't know what I'm going to do it on yet. I haven't started. But yeah, very cool species, very cool species. And I will see you guys next time. So, bye-bye.